I'm your host, Mel Dominguez, our local artist, Alfonso Chavez, also known as Fonz. So he's your local artist and he's our guest today. So I'm really excited to have him on board because, man, he does a lot of stuff. I was realizing when I was, checking him out, interviewing and looking what he's been up to, like he's been very, very busy. So I'm super excited to have him on board today and to be able to share him with all of you out there because this is the way it's going down right now. I like it online. We have our own personal satellite, and it feels good. I'm actually feeling good this week. The way that things are working out. So, um, hope you're with me. Oh, look at here we go. What's up, Fonz?
What up?
Thank you for joining us. What's up?
Yeah, thank you for having me. None, I'm
Yeah,
chilling.
yeah.
What are you up
Hey,
to?
can you tell everybody where you're from?
Tucson, Arizona.
West Side community.
Year.
That's what's up. I was talking about you mentioning that you're a doer of many things. I mean, you're an artist. You do some hip hop, but you do some community stuff. I mean, can you tell us about like this very important like flowers and bullets? Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking about that too. I was like, damn, I need to cut back on stuff. Cause I get involved with so many things. But yeah, Flowers and Bullets started 2012 originally as like a clothing brand. Um it was founded by a couple of my homies, Tito Romero and Jacob Robles, and heavily influenced by like the local graffiti scene and kind of promoting like the cultural aspect and like education and history and identity as it relates to like the Southwest, but specifically Tucson. And so started off as a clothing brand, and then as people started getting involved, it started kind of just evolving, and it's like ever evolving,
Yeah.
it started venturing into like agriculture. It went through the whole culture and identity, and then um it's like ever evolving, and now we have like our farm space, and so it's kind of
Well,
like this
wait a minute.
massive production.
Yes, so you said 2012. How old were you in 2012?
Oh man, don't make me do math.
I'm saying because that's a lot of work, and you're still young. To me, I'm like, wow, y'all are young. Like, and you
Yeah.
started thinking that way. What inspired thinking that way? Like for instance, the way that you guys took well, the not you guys, but you all took the elementary school Keen. How did you do that?
So I joined, I think I want to say it was a couple years after the fact. So originally it was 2012. I think I hopped in around 2014. Um, so I was in my early 20s, probably like 21 or so. But Julia Keene, since it was shut down by the Davis Mountain Air Force Base, it was gonna be sold to Penske Trucking Company. And so we went to a community gathering where the TUSD school district was wanting to meet about it and talk about like what their plans were and all of that stuff. And it got to a point where community was really outspoken about not wanting that, being in opposition of that idea. And someone, I remember some elder got up and was like, like, we don't want this. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to help us in any way. Like, why not give it to these kids? Like, they're out here doing things. Like, we see them, like they're in the community. And so that was said to the TUSD school board. And then it was kind of, the ball was kind of back in our court, and they were like, well, do you all have a proposal? And we are kind of like, well, no, but we can. And so we submitted one, and then that was what had the most community backing and support.
That's huge because when you're talking about that community, you're referring to Barrio Centro. And
Hmm.
in that area, there's so many folks there. So to have somewhere to go play or to go walk around, a safe space, a green space, and then now to have agriculture and art, because you're applying the two things. It's
Yeah.
almost like education through visuals. Am I right?
Hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of like the whole idea of like bringing a lot of that, just bringing out that identity. There's a lot of that already exists within the community, but how do we make it more apparent? Um, how do we bring those things to the forefront where like, they're probably a part of your history or your family's history, and people speak about it maybe behind closed doors, like at home or whatever, but like not like, let's bring that out into the streets.
Well, now it's like it's really important
Yeah,
because you're already on top of the game, having your own agricultural area in that neighborhood because of all this pandemic and stuff like that. Like, and I know that I recently saw like a plant sale that happened down there. I was like, shit, and
yeah,
that you all sold out. I was like, yeah, that's amazing. That's dope, you know?
yeah. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool and it's kind of not because, like, you put a lot of emphasis on these things, and like before you're like a crazy conspiracy theorist or something, and then when shit hits the fan, it's like, oh, like, then it becomes back into importance, and then people are asking for plant starts and how do I plant this? And there was a lot of like, which is dope. There was a lot of like gardeners and farmers overnight, and people were like, how do I do this? And they're scrambling around, but like, it's dope. It's cool that people want to come back to that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that it's happening because that's the biggest thing that for a young person is to not only to know somebody that they can relate to, but then it's happening in their neighborhood. So you're giving them all that history and like contemporary, like it's happening right now. So for
Yeah.
that one, I'm like, that one's really super. I think it's super dope. I'm like, it's amazing. But you're also the arts coordinator
Hmm.
for Flowers and Bullets.
Yeah.
And so can you tell folks out there where they can either walk, bike, or drive by one of your art pieces or the pieces of art you've created?
Yeah. So we have a few that are up. Like, so I'm part of a larger collective. So we have an art crew of roughly around 5 artists, and all of those things are always moving and evolving too. But um, we all work within groups a lot of times, and I have a few individual projects too. The one that I did right here off of Congress and Grande is
Oh,
the
yeah.
La Chaiteria, and it's she wanted like the loteria imagery, which is the nopal, and then the corazon. So those are my two pieces there. Recently, not too recent, but I want to say it's about a year and a half ago, restored the David Tineo mural at the El Rio Center on Speedway, and we have a few projects like all around town in Monzo. Um, I worked on one with the crew in Barrio Centro too, right across the street from the farm. So yeah, we have a few.
Do you get any kids or any kind of other artists, like grown-up artists, going up to you guys and being like, "What's up? What are you up to?"
Yeah, we've had a few kids. I remember most recent when I was working, I was with Johnny Bubonic.
Oh
At,
yeah, random job.
yeah, we were at the one right here on Congress, and we were throwing up some images, doing some outlines and stuff. And these two homies were walking by, and they were just like, they were funny. They were just like, "What are y'all doing?" We're painting, and they're like, "Damn, like that's tight." And one of the cats was like, and they were smoking and they were just like chilling, smoking and drinking. And then one of the dudes was like, you need to throw some like Aztec shit on there, man. Like you need to have like some sort of like warrior or like this. And he started like thinking of all these images. We're like, yeah, man, that's the plan. Like we want to include all that stuff, but with that one, it was like a very specific image that the owner
Yeah,
wanted. But yeah,
I
it's
know.
cool. We've done workshops with youth too. We did a big one in Barrio Centro at the Bristol Park, and that was like a collective project. And we took suggestions from the community at one of the fiestas, and so we got like 50 suggestions of what they wanted to see. And
Yeah,
then we had a youth project where a lot of the youth came out and they were helping us paint and lay some of the base colors and all of that.
that's dope. Well, you know what I like about that too is the fact that you got it together to do the restoration of the Teneo piece,
Mm-hmm.
and that whole area is a story. And
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that you went back and you did that, that's another big one. And
yeah,
because it's all important, because like places like metropolis, places like Los Angeles, they've been buffing out murals left and right. It's been gentrified. So the fact
yeah,
that you're going in and you're making it like, hey, we're still alive, or there's people here that still have culture and thrive in these areas. If you don't put your mark on it, it happens. Like, and I've seen it. So
yeah.
I man, I hope that is there something behind that? Like you also did something with Monzo.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about that one? Because that one, has like a whole, like the school is gonna get shut down. The counselor, he's now working at the U of A.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how you got involved with that?
Yeah, so we're really involved with like the ecology program type deal, you know. There's a school garden project, and so we collaborate just as like F&B as is. And they had kind of like a rec room that they wanted to transform into like a learning space. And it's cool because us being a part of like this identity that we're connected to, like with the agriculture work and the culture work, like it kind of gives us this very unique edge on what our content is, you know, like our brand. And so people that want that kind of imagery, those kind of murals, they come to us. And so like the ecology program, they wanted to reach out and wanted like imagery of like agriculture, like farming practices, and but like the real detailed like science stuff, you know, where like if you're gonna paint it, like you gotta know like how the plants internal systems and like what the soil levels and like all of that is, because what they do is they lead instruction off of that mural, like they use it to teach.
That's cool.
And so they reached out, and that's actually mainly Johnny and Jacob's mural, and I helped pretty much coordinate it, you know. I contacted the people and helped with like all that annoying stuff, you know what I mean, like the technical things. But I mean, it was dope to be there and to like to help out with stuff too. But yeah, it was all it was like the three sisters, and then it includes the root systems and the soil levels, and then we have like clouds. And so like it's this whole system of agriculture and like precipitation and that whole functioning system of ecology, like going down in that spot.
That school in itself is just awesome to visit, because you go into it, there's murals from Teneo, and then you walk in and then you see all the work that the students have been putting into it. And I'm like, I was blown away. I was like, this is an amazing school. And I want to say that a lot more schools are modeling themselves
Yeah.
like that, because there's other ways to teach children. So I love that. That one, I'm on fire about. But tell me this: how did you start getting like wanting to do art? Like when you were like, because I seen some of the postings you have on Instagram. Like, what inspires you to create these things? Like, what, like you're sitting back and you're like, I want to do this. Like, what fires you up?
I have like a really hyperactive mind. Me and you got that in common. You know, I know. Like when we talk, we're like, yeah. But I have a really hyperactive mind, and it keeps me from like being able to focus a lot of times. And like I could like be trying to go to sleep and be kept up, like thinking of just the most outrageous stuff, you know, like imagery. And it's a way it helps me process my thoughts. Like
Yeah,
I doodle when I have meetings and like all of that. And like when I was young, I did that too. And I kind of got disconnected from art for a while because it was hard for me to find importance in it at one point. Like when I was in elementary school, like I used to draw. In my family, there's a lot of artists in my family, and I used to draw, and kids used to ask me like, can you draw this for me? Can you draw this for me? You know, for projects and stuff. And I used to, and I always tell myself too, like, man, I wish I never stopped. So it was just like a steady incline of getting better. But when I was young, I really loved doing that. And then there was a point where I just lost connection to it, and I couldn't find the importance. And I think now that I'm like processing this as we talk, I was at Davis Elementary School, and they had like a beast like art program there. And it was my teacher was Raquel. I don't know if you know Raquel.
I
Um,
think I do.
I can't, I
Is
can't,
it
I,
Move Along? I can't
oh,
pronounce.
it's with an R, Rogul. Yeah.
Well, see, but I know. I think I know who you're talking about. That's dope.
Well, she was my art teacher, and they had like a badass art program there. And then from Davis, I was switched to Booth Pickett at some point. And so there it wasn't they didn't have an art program. It was heavy on like the math and science, which I both suck at now still. But I lost like all my connection to art, and I just stopped doing it. And it wasn't until like later, like it wasn't until like I reconnected after high school, um like reconnecting with like Flowers and Bullets, and like doing stuff with Mez and all the homies, you know. And like seeing them doing things, and at first, like, I was like, man, I don't even think I got it anymore. And then after a while, like, I was like, I know how to do this, you know, and started giving it a shot. Um, and then yeah, since I'd say probably since probably like 2011, I've just been like back, kind of refinding that whole, like, uncovering that, you know.
Yeah. Hey, did you bring anything? Do you have anything nearby that you can just kind of show people? Or
Ah, damn, I forgot you. Oh, actually, wait, hold up.
oh shit.
I have my
Oh,
T-shirt.
there we go. Hell yeah.
So that's one thing. I mean, it's not framed, but in a way it is.
Hell yeah. So how do people, if folks out there on Instagram want to check you out, like how do they find you on Instagram?
My Instagram is Fonz520. I also have my Big Cartel. I have like my merch up there too. Right now, we're in the process of restructuring our merch system with flowers and bullets. So that's not really like accessible right now, but that'll be up soon at some point. So
I feel like if I go somewhere around the city, whether it be like H&S, like House of Neighborhood Services, or anywhere on the South Side, or anywhere, to be honest, you see like Sage Against the Machine, or like
yeah,
or like Murder USA. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't like Fonz was here, or somebody that knows Fonz was here. Like, but it's cool because that's a belonging thing. Like instantaneously, you see imagery like that, and you're like, you belong. But we got a question from the audience. Mirena Mobile Boutique asked, if you could paint a wall anywhere, where would you want to go?
Paint a wall anywhere. Damn. I don't know. It's weird because a lot of the places too that I'm thinking, like you say, a lot of spots have been busted down and like gentrified too. Um, I'm not sure of a spot, but I do know of one of the things that I do want to paint. And I wanted to do I did a graphic of Richard Elias
Oh yes.
that I was like, damn, like after I drew it up, I was like, man, it'd be cool to like put this up somewhere, you know? So
Yeah.
people know where a good wall is in
Mm,
Tucson. But
damn.
like you
That's
say
a
too,
good
like
one.
all of the, my bad, I cut you off.
Oh no. I was just saying that's a good ass idea. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
It's just wall space now, like you say. It's like more of territory now to claim. And it's not even like, I feel like before it was like graffiti artists claiming walls, but now it's like how do you claim a wall from the city or from like gentrifiers, you know? Like, yeah, it's a trip.
I love the work that you've been doing. I even want to catch up with you. I have one of those strategies in my mind too, because my mind's like hyperactive like yours.
Yeah.
But with all this downtime, what's your strategy for the future? Like, what is your dream? Like, what are you moving on next?
Um, that's a good question. I think I battle with myself on stuff like that because, like I say, I have so many directions that it's hard to identify which. So I'm hoping that at one point they all just kind of link up into one central spot. But um, I know that like I was going to school, I was going to the U of A for retail and consumer science, and so I want to be involved with being able to create a business of my own because I'm also passionate about um like food, you know, food and agriculture and all that stuff too. And so at one point, I don't like speaking too much about it, but at one point I want to take like all these experiences that I have and my talent and just put it into one, you know, invest it into one big thing. But that's like the ultimate goal, you know. Up until then, like my only thing is like trying to stay consistent and like, you know, practicing and learning, and like that's all that it's really been with everything that I'm doing right now.
I believe you're gonna do it. I'm like, I hope that we stay in our location so you could work on with us on the back portion of it, because
Yeah.
that's an amazing spot. But you know what else? I'm like, man, this guy's a globetrotter. Like, you were in Southeast Asia.
Oh yeah.
What was that all about?
That was it was a global experiential learning program. So it's like a study abroad program for students of color. So like the U of A recognizes that like the only people that are really doing like these study abroad programs that have access to that stuff is predominantly like white women.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, there was like that huge gap. And so there was funding for this program that they had developed in order to get like more youth, or to get more students out who identify as like POC. And so yeah, that was an opportunity that was presented to me. And like I never left the US, and I didn't want to. Like, to be honest with you, I hated the idea the whole
Really?
time. And I told the guy too. I told like other students, like a couple of the students are right here watching. And the whole time I was like, nah, like I don't want to do it. Like I'm afraid of heights. I'm deathly afraid of heights. Like
Really?
dead, like done. And on the flight, every takeoff and every landing, like I had my headphones in and my eyes closed. Like I don't even want to see what's going on. But it was dope. It was like, it was just as I imagined, which is why I went through with it. Is like it's an experience of a lifetime. You know, one of the cool spots that I saw was a place called Handicraft in
Wow.
Vietnam. And it's a collective of folks that were affected by Agent Orange
Oh,
during the war. And so it's called Handicraft, like handicap. And they're all artists. They're all like old school, like crazy, like style and technique stuff, right? Like their painting style, like, but everything that they use there, from their inks and their dyes and their brushes, everything's naturally made.
wow.
So everything, like their paints, everything. And they're making like and what they were doing too is they were making stuff out of eggshells, like what do you call it? Kind of like tile work. What do they call that?
Like mosaic?
Mosaic, yeah. They were doing that with seashells. So they take seashells and they break them with their hands, and then they glue them, and then they'd put like a seal over it, and they'd polish it, and it's just like this shiny. Anyways, I'm nerding out about it, but it was just they're making like crazy, like these shiny shell creations and like paintings and like old school, like Asian, you know, like that style. But yeah, it was dope.
How long were you out there?
I was out there for, I think it was 17 days.
Wow, those are good. That's a good time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was ready
Oh,
to come home at the end.
yeah. Wait, so what kind of food did you eat while you were out there?
Man, kind of food did I not eat out there? And you know what, too? I was looking for the crazy stuff. I was like, I want to eat the bugs. I want to eat all that. But
Yeah,
I was down
you were
for it.
like that
But
dude from. You were like that dude. Fuck, that's delicious. That guy Bronson.
yup, that's my spirit animal right there. That's why I was grubbing too. I was like, let me get an order of that, and I would just get like 3 orders and sit down. Where's Anna?
Damn.
Anna was in the chat right now. She synced it. But
Damn.
yeah, hella crazy food, like a lot of like vegetarian stuff I was grubbing on, but I ate everything out there.
Wow, man. See, and it's those type of things that you actually went to go do, and then when you come back, the fact that you share that with young people, oh man, that just opens the dream. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times students, and especially right now if they're in quarantine, they're in that box with people telling them what to do and what the advice is. So I hope they're out there listening, and that they know that there's adventures that can happen out there while you learning. So I mean, that one's huge, man. Do you have any other plan? I mean, I know the quarantine's still happening, but beyond that, like I want to see you do it. I want to see you do it. You just made me dream a little bit about what you might be doing in the city of Tucson.
Yeah.
So it's super amazing, man.
You seen the quarantine?
Yeah, dude.
I gotta get you a copy of that.
You know what? I would love one. You know what? My God, I think that's an amazing story. So you all, Flowers and Bullets, put together an activity pack, like a coloring book, and then a little mask and stuff.
Yeah, well, so it went with F&B did like a COVID response kit. And so in that, we were giving it out to community, that immediate neighborhood, Barrio Centro, and we were giving like reusable masks and the disposable masks. And then we had our zine. We had like pamphlets and resources and hand sanitizer. We got hand sanitizer from Thunder Canyon Brewery. They donated it like a keg. So we just tapped that boy, and then we were just like, you have bottles, like we'll fill them up, and we're filling them and handing them out, and showering ourselves with the hand sanitizer. But yeah, and then the art crew, we figured it was a good opportunity to link, and like very rarely in collective work, as I'm sure you know, like do we get the time to do stuff that we just genuinely want to do that's not held to any restraint, you know what I mean? And that goes for funding, grants. Like you find yourself like doing in that circle of work, you find yourself like, oh, this person wants this but they don't want it like that, like it can't be too political but we can maybe squeeze something in like in the back. But like this was kind of like an opportunity that we wanted to just be able to like create stuff, and of course within the guidelines of our values, like, you know, be the relevance there, but ultimately just being us, like getting down, you know, and doing like silly comics. And there was word puzzles, and the mask thing that you're talking about was kind of just like a promotional like a flyer page for the discos, you know, the homegirls.
Yeah, they're so cool, man.
Yeah, and so we put that in there because they were the ones that donated their masks. They donated 80 masks.
Wow.
Them and Tanya Alvarez.
Damn, dude, I'm just the power that's in Tucson. I'm like, like I feel like this is a turning point where things there's a demand in the change, because this other stuff we got to scratch it and start like this is fresh and new. So the fact that you studied, you said retail and branding, like marketing, all of it. This is gonna be huge. I mean, this is bigger than what I thought, to be honest with you. It's the new world, not a new normal, but a new world as far as how we get in touch with each other, how we react to a situation. I mean, it's there. It's all evident. But I love it because that's the other thing. I wanted to connect language. So all the murals that are going up, I'm hoping that we can just get out there and start bombing places. I mean, bombing, paint bombing, not bombing.
Yeah.
Hey, but how about this? Is there anything you want to share with the audience that we have out there? Oh, look it. Titled Halo says, rumor has it you designed the logo for our local home-based bakery. Oh, shoot. Is that true?
What bakery? Local bakery. Yeah, for Tilted Halos, you can see it right there.
All right. That's cool. You know, I was unaware of that. That's super cool.
What's up, Mariel? Yeah, I did like some graph type letters. She wanted it very urban. She mentioned she wanted herself an urban design, so we picked out a color palette. We had a meeting, worked it all out, decided what kind of font, what kind of look, made a little character.
That's dope, though. You know what? Because even back in the day, I still do this, is collect stickers. Oh, let's see. Oh, so the Tilted Halos is, first of all, it's delicious. And then it's gluten-free.
Yep.
And vegan, right?
Yep.
And it still tastes good. I was like, every time we've had it at the shop, it's sold out. I'm like, wow, dude. Like, so I was really happy that last mercadito, because the whole street was full.
Yeah.
And that, you know, yeah, man. And I hope we can get back to that, just because I felt like how you said, you're giving back to the community, like the life, like there's actually people living here and that they want to collect local art. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. No, but is there anything you want to share with the audience right now that we have them?
I like seeing people utilize their powers. You know what I mean? Like in your sense with like, because I feel like there was a point, specifically like my parents' generation, like that older generation, where I feel like, and it's no hate, but like I feel like they really dropped the ball with creating things that were to push any sort of agenda. You know what I mean? And it was like people could kind of just create opportunities for themselves, and people wanted to start their businesses, but it wasn't really within any value system or promoting any like ideas. And I think that that's like the new wave and what I want to see, you know, with like the gallery, like your space. It's like, it's got a mission, it's got values, it's got a demographic, like really set in stone things, you know. And it's the same thing with F&B. Like we have a demographic, we have our values and our mission. Same thing with the disco homegirls. Like, they got their stuff, you know. Same things with like all the artists, you know, all the artists that we have like coming out of Tucson. It's like creating space and like not taking no for an answer, really, you know. Like this is what we do and this is what we're gonna promote, despite, you know, what other challenges there are, because that's what art was to begin with, you know.
Hell yeah. I know it's a conspiracy stuff, but I'm like, so they let us protest. Everybody's out there protesting, making signs and doing Facebook blasts, and then they started saying that they were gonna exhaust us from protesting, and people were still showing up. Now they've done it where we're quarantined. We're not allowed to get together.
Yeah.
But here we are on fucking Instagram.
Yeah. And that's
So
what that was one of the big challenges with F&B too, because I was like, man, it sucks, because times like these are the most crucial times for us to unify and strategize, you know. But having that very specific thing in the way, you know, it inhibits us from, disallows us from being able to like get together and coordinate and strategize. And like, you know, we're privileged because we have our farm space, you know, and so we could still maintain like our distance and still be able to work and do our thing. But I know that that's not the case for a lot of people.
I know, that's why I'm glad that you're all doing that in the barrio where you're doing it, because there's so many people there. It's like it's saturated with gente, and the fact that there's some space like that happening, I just hope that it continues. And I want to do more to share and network with you all, just so that we're working that it continues. Oh, look at, as a Chicano artist, how has Chicano culture played a role in your development as an artist?
That's my brother. What's up, Fredo? Pretty much that's like the foundation of it, you know. Without that aspect, like, I don't know, like what's art without identity, you know? And a lot of that's rooted. That's why like the Tineo project, that's like the biggest project that I might ever be a part of, but definitely up to date, because when I was going to Davis, as I mentioned, through the art project and all of that, I would see Tineo's murals there at the school, and I actually didn't realize who it was until I got older. But I remember like I would stand there as a kid, like legit looking. And I remember there was a woman, she reminded me of like Storm from like the X-Men. Like her hair, she had like half white hair and half black hair at Davis. And I would just post up like as a kid, like, what's up with their hair, you know, like imagery that Dineo throws in, you know, that has you like, why did he do that? Like, how come this person's legs like that or whatever? But that was like a big like click in my mind of like seeing Chicano artists putting imagery that's relevant and reflective of me and my community and my people, you know. And that's kind of like the stuff that I want to create and things that I want to be involved with, because I could go, you know, downtown to some metro area and I could throw up a big picture of flying giraffes partying with martini glasses, or, well, you know, whatever, you know. But yeah. And that stuff's dope too. It's not to knock that, because it's hella creative too, but it's something like very in depth and like the foundation of like where we're at, like what history is behind that, like who came before. Like, we've been doing this shit since the hieroglyphs, you know. We've been writing our stories on the walls. Like, it's just a continuation of that all. It's like tradition, you know.
You know what? It's true. That's the whole thing. See, growing up in Los Angeles, the most attainable artists were my graffiti artists. Mm-hmm. I'd run into other graffiti guys and be like, "What's up? What is this all about?" And then they drop knowledge about like ECLN, and I was like, "What?" So that's like you're still doing agriculture, but it's in the mind of the youth. So damn, that's hell of important. And the whole restoration and things like that, we have to do it, because if not, it sounds crazy, but it gets whitewashed. They actually buff things. So the fact that it's back and it's bright and it tells that story again, it's huge. All the schools I've gone to, he's had a mural in there. He's done something with the students. And a lot of people know him, so I'm grateful that he's done what he's done, and that you're continuing that chapter. Because the minute they silence us, I mean, that's what I'm scared of. I'm like, the freedom of expression. creating a piece of artwork like that, you know? So it's big, and I'm glad you guys are all out there doing that piece, because it that's what it's all about, like taking that social equity. I keep talking about that, you know what I mean? I'm gonna plan something when we can get together again and do like a bike ride, man. To do like a bike tour, yeah, because you're the artist. You could be telling people how you guys all created this piece, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and the
Oh,
mural at the Boys and Girls Club too. Can't believe I forgot that one. So
oh,
that
which one was that at?
there's so we did one the Boys and Girls Club right next to Sobaco, Jollyville. So it's right behind Joaquin Murrieta. And so
Yeah.
that's like where I grew up. That's where my family's from, you know. And so like being able to do work like there in Monzo and like El Rio too, it's like it's cool because it's a way for us to kind of give back, because a lot of times we get caught like doing everything for everyone else that we don't get to do anything for ourselves. So
But I'm glad you all are holding ground, holding space. We're here for you. I hope to get together with that other space so we could do more togetherness, you know, with all the community out there, and uplift all the youth and people of color. Tucson's strong, man. I want to see us do something, especially in this time, and be another example,
yeah,
you know, for others.
I'm down with like the old school underground workshop stuff, like things I haven't seen in a minute, from like even like do like from your home type stuff, do it yourself type stuff, like you were saying, like block printing and like using different types of machinery, but also like wheat pasting and like stencils, you know what I mean? Like that's what, if there's one thing that I could choose to be like my next thing, it'd be to do that. And that's what I want to do with the zine, actually, is like putting in the last zine that we did that I was telling you about. There's in collaboration with Milkweed, he included a page of like how to wheat paste your own images, you know, and it's got like all the stuff down. And so like I want to be able to like pump all of that out, because that stuff too is like, when I came out of high school, that's stuff that I was super like involved in, like interested in, and like wanting to do, you know, like stencils, like all of that.
Let's do it, dude. Let's do it. And before we gotta go back to work.
I know. Everybody's gonna go back to work, and it's all just gonna go back to like, I don't want it to go back to normal, you know? Like
Me neither, dude.
normal was never normal. Like that shit sucked.
Right? I love you, man.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that you make I'm glad you make time for me. I hope everybody's excited to know you more. Again, if they wanted to find your art and buy some art, how do they reach you?
you can check out, if you check out Fonz520, my Instagram page, you can see it right here. I have everything in my bio. I got my website in my bio. My TikTok, I got a TikTok. My TikTok's the same as my Instagram. It's Fonz522. My TikTok's like mainly it's a little bit of art, but it's mainly like my agriculture stuff too, like the gardening type deal and things like that too. But
that's cool.
But yeah, Fonz520, you could check Flowers and Bullets at flowersandbullets.com. We're doing a little fundraiser right now, try to get things moving and sustain the work that we're doing. So if you check out flowersandbullets.com, you check out my website and my bio, you can find like everything, you know. Have access.
I love it so much. Everybody out there, support this local artist.
Thank you. You too, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I love it, man. Have a great week.
All right, you too. Stay safe.
All right, I'm gonna strategize with you soon.
Wear your damn mask, people.
Yeah, we're like
on your face, you nasty asses.